Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday. Well, they forgot her sauce, y'all, and look at how she's getting. Damn, this has to be the most big back shit ever. She in there like fucking Rasputia from Norbit. Dang, no way. That's not even funny, man. Over some sauce? I don't know, man. I've been to Popeyes before and asked them for an extra sauce. The girl gave me attitude. I just drove off. I'm not finna get out of my car and jump it. Yeah. Now, I'm not perfect, especially when it comes to like, anger and all that stuff. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm the most perfect person on earth. But one thing I'll never do is spaz out over sauce. I'll never spaz out over like food and stuff like that. There's a lot of times where I go to like certain places, not recently, but like if they don't get me a sauce or they don't do certain things, I'm not gonna get worked up about it. I'm also not the type of person to like scream at someone for sauce, scream at somebody because they got my order wrong. I'll tell them one time, hey, you know what? I don't eat onions. I'm allergic. Can you fix the order? It's that simple. I'm not gonna go behind the counter and start going crazy over some food. I don't know. I just feel like if I go to a place and they're attitude isn't up to par or their service isn't up to par, I just never go back there. I'm not a person who goes on Yelp and leaves reviews. I'm not a person who, let me speak to your manager. I'm not one of those people. You disrespect me, you treat me some type of way, or you say, hey ma'am, you can't get a sauce. Cool. Even if I'm willing to pay for the sauce, which I always say, can I get some 5 sauces? I'll pay you for them. It's not that serious. I watched a video on Twitter a long time ago, and it was this girl fighting with this other girl, y'all, over some sauce. Literally, same concept, except for it was at Popeyes. You know what happened after that? Which I was like, whoa, how did it go from that to that? The girl pulled out a whole fucking knife and started shanking the girl. Could you imagine asking for a sauce and now a bitch is stabbing your ass for it? This is why I don't be playing with people. One thing about me is you don't know what type of day somebody's going to be having. So guess what I don't do? Play with people who mess with my food. I've never done that. I don't yell at service workers. I don't yell at servers. I don't yell at busters. None of that stuff. Because they're the ones dealing with my food and I don't want no problems. Plus, like I said, I just don't get that mad over stuff like that. You're not harming me. You're not doing anything to me. I understand you're under a high amount of stress. All these crazy customers. You don't need me making your day worse. And I also feel like the more and more you amp up the situation, the more and more they're not going to want to help you. I just don't see the point of doing stuff like this. And then your fucking face is plastered everywhere. Now people don't want you at places. And then look, that feeling of embarrassment must feel awful afterwards. I've never been kicked out of a food establishment. A food place? You're getting kicked out of Wingstop because of the wings? You know damn well Wingstop's always busy, y'all. Just ask for an extra sauce. I don't see what the issue is. I'm sorry, y'all, but this is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. You got to be the biggest Winnie the Pooh ass lady to be doing stuff like this. But justice was served. She got kicked out. Ha ha.